Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello everyone, happy Valentine's Day. It is a cold one, definitely. We are still in that cold snap, but always a good day. I feel like everyone just feels extra lovey, whether you're in a relationship or not.
Yeah, well, you're wearing your red. I don't have any red ties or shirts, so I can't really. I didn't realize that just until now, actually.
Oh, you didn't even plan to wear one?
I just don't have anything red that could be on TV at least.
Oh, okay, so not appropriate.
Well, hoodies.
Could have just worn a little love hoodie. That would have been nice. Our question of the day today is surrounding Valentine's Day. We want to know, do you prefer chocolate or flowers? A lot of people weighing in saying beer. So there's also the third option. We're going to get into that conversation just a little bit, but first let's go check in with Brett Holden tonight.
We're here at Let's Golf, Lloydminster's only virtual golf course simulation. We'll be talking to Toby Harris, the owner of Let's Golf, just about the technology and a little more about Let's Golf. And I'll even be trying to hash out my swing as well. Let's see how it is right now. Not bad, not bad. So we'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Let's Golf, but first let's head back into the studio where Connor has a look at your local news.
Now, earlier in the day, Premier Notley announced $100 million to attract more high-tech companies to the province. Well, the City of Lloydminster is beginning the second phase of its downtown area redevelopment plan. The city gathered feedback in the first phase, and O2 Planning has used the feedback to create a plan for the downtown. Now the city's asking for the public's thoughts on the plan.
And they designed a plan, and now we're going to say, hey, what do you think? Did we listen to you? Are you happy? Did we at least incorporate some aspects of what you would like to see? So I'm actually quite excited to see what the community's response is to the plan that we've developed.
The city will hold a few different public engagement sessions to allow residents to weigh in on the plan.
Public engagement will begin on February 21st, and that will be at the Route downtown. February 22nd, there is another public engagement session at a pop-up at the Bobcats game. And then February 23rd at the Service Sports Center during the Farmers Market.
Portable survey stations will also be set up at the Lloyd Mall, City Hall, and the Service Sports Center. There's also an online survey available at lloydminster.ca/DARP that's open until March 4th. A First Nations woman from Alberta is making waves in the modeling world in Toronto. Michaela Shannon from Frog Lake has been modeling since she was 15, and earlier this month she was put on the biggest billboard in Dundas Square in Toronto.
I couldn't believe it, to be honest. It's still hitting me. I'm still processing it, that I am on the largest billboard in the busiest intersection in Canada. It's a surreal moment.
Michaela hopes that this billboard will inspire other Indigenous girls to pursue their dreams.
I never saw anyone Indigenous in mainstream pop culture, in the magazines or on TV, and that's what really motivated me to keep pursuing it.
Michaela has been one of the hosts for the show The Other Side on APTN for the past 3 seasons and continues to be a model. A local woman is putting on a photography session to help teens feel more confident. Jen Isaacson is hosting the Be Your Own Beautiful session, and it will focus on teens who are still in high school. Now, Jen says that she sees the way some teens are uncomfortable around the camera, and she wants to change that.
I want them to feel confident. It's a hard world, especially with social media now. Teens are growing up with all that extra pressure and judgments, and people feel free to comment on anything about their appearance and about themselves. And I just want them to see what everyone on the outside sees about them.
This is the first time the session is being offered by Jen, and she hopes to make a difference for these teens.
I just felt it would be a great thing to offer them this opportunity to get all glammed up, get their hair and makeup done, and get some pictures where they can look at them and see, wow, I look great, I'm a good person, and I'm beautiful, and that's a big deal.
Teens interested in the session can sign up on jenisaacson.com/beyourownbeautiful. And now we're going to send it over to Brett Holden, who is on location.
Toby Harris joins us now here at Let's Golf. And Toby, let's talk about just bringing Let's Golf to Lloyd and the importance of having obviously how cold it is outside, coming inside and just having this kind of technology here.
Well, at the end of the day, I hate winter and I love to golf. So Lloydminster has never had anything like this. So I made an effort to bring the best indoor golf that exists on the planet to Lloydminster. And, you know, here it is. I created Let's Golf. It's not a franchise. It's the one and only for now. So it's a start. But, yeah, it's perfect place to be when it's minus 40 degrees out like it is right now.
Now, we'll get a little bit more into the technology coming up in a little bit, but let's talk for you just being able to have this kind of technology and practice for you. What does it mean for you, and what does it mean for the people who are able to come in and take advantage of this?
Well, at the end of the day, when choosing a simulator for myself in Let's Golf, I needed to choose the best there was. And after a lot of research and my own thing, I found HD Golf was the best. It's also a Canadian company, so of course supporting Canadian is better than anything. So with the technology in here, doing lessons for us in here, we can make short work of problems. I mean, it's a fantastic bunch of information. So if people haven't been here before to really get a breakdown on it, we encourage you to stop in and even just talk with me, and I can show you just how good it is.
Well, we can hear just how realistic everything is. We have a course behind us that we will be getting to in a little bit, and we'll be talking about just the technology that it takes for how accurate your swings get. So we'll have a little bit more coming up, but first let's head back into the studio where Michaela has a look at your weather.
All right, thank you so much, Brett. Sitting at minus 23 out there, we did hit minus 20, which is a nice warm-up. That wind still in effect, feeling like minus 31 out there, and we're going to feel close to that minus 40 range overnight and into the early hours of the morning. As we look to the satellite radar, there's some couple of patches of precipitation out towards the west, and it is making its way here. We are expecting some snowfall tomorrow and then over the weekend, a significant amount on Saturday. As we look to our watches and warnings, we are still under that extreme cold warning. I feel like a broken record at this point, and it is stretching across both provinces yet again today. So still cold numbers, but we are going to see a warm up over the next week. Sitting at minus 20 degrees in Edmonton, minus 18 in Athabasca, Whitecourt a warm minus 13, Jasper at minus 8 currently. Cold Lake cool, sitting at minus 20, minus 22 in Meadow Lake right now, minus 21 in Prince Albert, Melfort minus 22, and Saskatoon sitting at minus 25 currently. As we look to North Battleford, going to dip down to minus 29 overnight, going to feel closer to that minus 40 range with that wind chill in effect. Tomorrow, a high of minus 20, but that extreme cold is still going to be in effect. Cold Lake, minus 28 overnight, again, feeling closer to that minus 40 range, minus 17 tomorrow, so into the teens. We are getting out of the into the deep 20 numbers, which is a nice change of pace. Overnight in the border city, we're reaching minus 28, going to feel closer to that minus 40 range, so frostbite is imminent within just a couple of minutes. Tomorrow, daytime high of minus 20, minus 28 is our overnight low. Now we are expecting over 5 centimeters of snow Saturday, starting in the morning, and it is going to continue. We could potentially see some of that snowfall start Friday evening. Minus 23 is our overnight low on Saturday, and then even warmer on Sunday at minus 17. We could see that snow continue to fall over the long weekend, with the overnight low hitting minus 21 on Sunday. I have more details on your long weekend and our warm-up coming up in just a little bit.
Turning to agriculture news, former Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall was in the border city for this year's Agrivisions, and in this week's Agriculture Report, Gerard Lamphouse sits down with the retired politician looking at the Raybould resignation and the carbon court case.
Get your media coverage.
Well, the independence of attorneys general in our system is very, very important. I mean, they're a part of cabinet, obviously. They're part of the overall decision-making of any government. They're part of partisan politics. That's also true. But their independence must be preserved. And so the challenge that is presenting the Prime Minister right now is at least the Globe and Mail stories indication that perhaps that independence was compromised with the Prime Minister's office, the allegation that the Prime Minister's office was trying to influence the Attorney General on an important prosecution in terms of that SNC Lavalin case. And So now it's unfolded with I think the challenge the Prime Minister has in particular was yesterday he said, basically, the minister is still on board with the direction of the government in this and other areas because she's still in cabinet. That was the example that he used, and then yesterday, of course, she resigned from cabinet. And now the Justice Committee, the House of Commons, is talking about hearings, and it's an important issue, and we want the independence of that office at all times.
Yeah. The other issue then that you were waving the flag on for quite some time, the lone voice in the wilderness, has been this carbon court case, which agriculture producers have taken up before the courts. What are your thoughts on that situation now?
Well, first of all, I'm very grateful for agricultural groups and producers to have joined an intervener status on the case. I want to say that I think Premier Moe has been handling this file exceedingly well. He's built support. You're right. We were alone when we first when the carbon tax, the federally imposed carbon tax, was proposed as part of the climate change plan from the Trudeau government. And as I was saying today in another media outlet, we were about as lonely as a Bomber fan at Mosaic Stadium. And that's changed, in part because there's been elections in other provinces, but also because Premier Moe's been working to build support. And, we had committed to take the feds to court if they tried to impose. That was the commitment that I had made and that our government had made. And Premier Moe was clear in his leadership campaign that he would follow through on that, and they have. And the case they've begun presenting today to the Court of Appeal in our province, I think is a rigorous case. I'm not a lawyer, but I've read the factum, and they're citing precedents that are current and ones that go right back to the foundations of our democracy.
What does it mean when a retired politician looks at his watch? Absolutely nothing.
Gerard Lampow, Primetime Local News.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Centre. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Centre with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
We'll have part 2 of this interview in tomorrow's Ag Report. Honoring those who have contributed to agriculture in the region is another important aspect of this year's AgriVisions. This year, the Lloydminster Agriculture Exhibition Association inducted Terrence Bexon into the Hall of Fame. The tradition dates back to 1974, and there have been some 34 inductees. Bexon was present with his wife of 64 years, Betty, and their family to receive the accolade.
Oh, probably my involvement with the heavy horse business and the horse business in general, probably the biggest one. And my involvement with the Exhibition Association. First time I remember coming on these grounds, I was 5 years old. Yeah, and I've been more or less involved ever since. So.
Bexon's contribution stands out in the area of draft horses, for which his published 11-step training program is still relevant to the industry. He's very thankful to the community.
Yeah, I am. I'm very thankful for all the work they put into this, inducting me and suggesting that I go in here.
Terrence Bexon has been responsible for breaking in numerous horse teams across Western Canada. And in our Ag Report, we'll have more coverage of last night's supper at the X Grounds with guest speaker, former Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall. Well, that's it for agriculture news. Sports is next, but let's take a look at your ag prices for today.
Every member of the City Centre Auto Body team has been through extensive training. We're constantly upgrading our team's education to reflect current collision repair technique.
Well, turning to sports, a month ago, the Lakeland Rustlers men's volleyball team looked assured of making the ACAC championship for the first time since 2008. Now it's a must-win scenario this weekend against the Naydukes. Josh Ryan has a look at how the Rustlers are embracing the most significant moment of the program's history this decade.
A pair of stinging losses against the Kings Eagles, who carried that momentum since, made the Rustlers' bye week more stressful than they would have liked. However, there's a sense of calm heading into a critical final weekend.
It's a spot we haven't been in a long time, so we're happy to be in that position. We have the last playoff spot. It's just a matter of us now going out there and earning it.
The Eagles sit one match behind Lakeland for the final playoff spot in the North, but they hold the tiebreaker. To stay ahead, the Rustlers need to find the defensive excellence they had earlier this season.
defense is one skill that just gets you going and get the big dig, get the big save. It sometimes even more than a kill. It just gets the team going for sure, and having a good lib like JC just definitely helps with that.
Defeating Nate back in October was arguably the team's most impressive victory. Replicating it will require a similar game plan, using superior backcourt play to keep the more physical Ooks out of system.
If we do the things that we do really well, that's the things that they don't do well. So we kind of are mismatched that way. Try and make them hit out of one pass, there's two passes, and try and dig it. And not making too many errors, let them make those mistakes, and then just play side out and wait for our opportunities to have lots of patience.
And earning a playoff spot in this situation in front of a home crowd would validate the many hours of toil that have gone into the program over half a decade.
We can't rely on other teams to do things for us, so it's about us going out there, playing our best, and whatever happens, happens, and hopefully that means us finishing fourth and grabbing that last playoff spot.
Here we go. 2, 3.
We would love to, after this weekend, just be in it, but I think that if we do accomplish that goal, it'd feel better that we did it ourselves and not someone else did it for us. And it's a nice way to end the season, to be honest.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local Sports.
The Alberta Junior Hockey League announced the nominees for the league's annual awards this week. Luke Albert and Colby Muse were nominated for top defenseman and top goaltender, respectively, while Rick Swan was nominated for Coach of the Year. Now, this is Swan's third nomination during his tenure in Bonnyville. He won in 2016 to go along with a nomination for CJHL Coach of the Year. The Pontiacs are 39, 10, and 4, good for first in the AJHL North Division and second overall. And now we're going to send it back to Brett Holden, who's out on location today.
Toby Harris joins us once again here at Let's Golf. And Toby, we touched on the technology that you guys have here, but let's expand on that a little bit more.
Well, like briefly we said, with HD Golf, this is the only simulator in the world that actually uses 100% real course imagery. So we're looking at 100,000 images of St. Andrews and Pebble Beach and all the top tour courses in the world. It's also the only simulator that uses all camera technology. So for instance, in our system here, if we're going to go in and practice anything we want to do, we're going to head onto the driving range and we're going to hit some golf balls. Every swing we can take and look at our shot data and actually see what our club path is doing, our speed, our ball speed, launch angles. Everything you ever want to see in your swing is there. It's like having a golf pro standing here watching you all the time. So the software here is absolutely fantastic. On top of what else there is to do in the system, we have 27 golf courses in our play menu. We have the practice section, we have driving range, putting greens, chipping greens, everything. And there's also even a whole section, just to play around in for the kids, anything, glass break walls, mini putt, 18-hole mini putt, darts, poker, all kinds of things to do that are just way more than just a round of golf.
Now, you mentioned, we were talking a little bit before, how you weren't necessarily golfing when you were 6 years old. This wasn't necessarily something that was in your life right off the top. And you mentioned just how much this has taught you the game even more than just going out and hitting balls.
Yeah, no question. Before I opened this facility, I was well over a 20 handicap or 25 handicap there, just by basically using the software alone and training my golf swing, using that as I'm in a 10 to sub 10, just by coming in and hitting golf balls. So utilizing the software, and that's what I'm here for, is to get people to understand their golf swing and use that to help them. And it's amazing what you can actually do when you understand what's going on.
Perfect. We'll have a little bit more coming up from here at Let's Golf, but first let's head back into the studio where Michaela is going to be telling us just how much longer we will be golfing indoors.
Yeah, definitely good weather to be golfing indoors. Starting off our weather with this gorgeous shot of a sunset that was sent to us by Tyson. Thank you so much for sending that in. We are still under an extreme cold warning, and that is extending across both provinces today, and we are expecting cold temperatures for the next few days, but there's some good news for next week. Sitting at -23, feels like -31 out there, -20 in Vermilion, also in Vegreville. Edmonton sitting at -20, a little bit warmer at -19 in St. Paul. Bonnyville -21, -20 in Cold Lake. Lac La Biche in the teens, -17. And then as we move further out east, -22 currently in Maidstone, North Battleford at -25. As we look up north, We're getting better. We are into the teens, which is a nice change of pace, sitting at -17 in La Loche, also in Buffalo Narrows. A little bit cooler as we move further up north, -24 in Uranium City. Fort Chipewyan, -18, -14 in Fort McMurray, and Grand Prairie sitting at -18 currently. As we look down south, even nicer with Banff sitting at -8 degrees, -21 for Lethbridge, -19 in Medicine Hat. Swift Current sitting at -24 with the Queen City sitting at -26 currently. Now tomorrow, we're going to reach a daytime high of -20, which is where we saw ourselves today. With that window today, it did feel much cooler. -20 also expected for the daytime high in North Battleford, -19 for Maidstone, and then as we look into Alberta, -19 in St. Paul, -16 for Lac La Biche, with Cold Lake and Bonnyville both hitting -17 tomorrow. Now we are expecting some snowfall potentially starting tomorrow evening, and then really we're getting the brunt of it on Saturday. We could see over 5 centimeters, as you can see here, sitting around that 8 centimeter mark by the end of Sunday evening. So going to be snowy and a little cold, but we are going to be warming up over the next week. -26 in the morning, going to feel closer to that -35 to 40 range with that wind chill in effect. Recess -24, and then -20, which is our daytime high when the kids head home. -28 is the overnight low. Warming up to the teens on Saturday, but this is where we are expecting over 5 centimeters of snow. Potentially could carry on into Sunday as well. -17, -19 on Monday, and then look at that. We're getting into the single digits. -10 on Tuesday, with us getting into that single digit on Wednesday with a high of -8, -14 for the low, and then wrapping it up with a mix of sun and cloud next Thursday, a high of -16, and we will stay there for the overnight low. Averages are -17 and -7, so we are slowly but surely inching closer to those averages.
And now let's send it back to Brett Holden, who's down at Let's Golf.
All right, so now it's time to get my swing perfected. We have Pebble Beach here, right?
Yep, probably the most famous par 3 hole in the world, right off the ocean here. Lucky for us, we got no wind because we're in the beauty of indoors here. So looks like there's a breeze coming off the ocean, but 100 yards, give it a whirl.
All right.
Oh, good swing. Gets the reverse view and everything. I'm pretty sure you'd take that on this hole for real any day.
Absolutely.
20-footer.
Tiger's got nothing on me. And so, just as we mentioned with the technology here, we see just like my club path, just how far down or how quickly I came down.
Yeah, I mean, on that swing, the ball does what your swing just did, right? The ball came out nice, straight, good-looking shot. The path was almost perfect. The face was a tiny bit open and just gave you a little bit of a fade there. So, I mean, the software did exactly what your swing did. So that's what we're trying to utilize here, is to learn what's happening in the golf swing.
So, Toby, my first swing at Pebble Beach, right on the green.
Absolutely. I mean, that's, yeah, what else can you say? Walk away.
What would be, for somebody who, like me, as we were talking before, I have a background in baseball, and you see just with baseball how much we want to come back and through, and quite often we see kind of a pull.
Right.
What would be kind of some things for somebody like me who's used to kind of a different sport to apply to?
Well, and I see it a lot, right? We always have a lot of cross sports. I see people come in, I can watch them swing a club, and I can go, man, you play hockey, don't you? You know, there's a lot of resemblances to a lot of it, and we see it with baseball too. And but a lot of it is very similar also. And like, there's a lot of weight transfer. It's figuring out where the power comes from, right? You know, we know where power comes from the ball. That's the release of that bat at the last second on the ball, right? It's the same thing with a golf club. So there's a lot of similarities, but again, super easy things to see by utilizing the cameras and our software, right? Very difficult to point those things out to unless we can see it happen. So when we can see it happen, it's pretty easy to get you on the right track, right? So we can fix those little things, but there's so many resemblances, they complement each other quite well.
Get me on the tour.
Yeah.
Let's head back into the studio where Connor and Michaela are going to be talking about if you, for Valentine's Day, are more a chocolate person or a flowers person. So let's, me personally, as you can tell, I'm a chocolate person.
All right, yes, in light of Valentine's Day, we want to know, what do you prefer as when it comes to traditional Valentine's gifts? Chocolate or flowers? We did put up a poll, almost 50-50, with 44% weighing in at chocolate, 56% saying flowers. But then when you get into the comments, a lot of people weighing in, they prefer booze.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, it's pretty neutral, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, and I feel like maybe this was a little bit unfair because, I mean, men don't typically receive the flowers or the chocolates.
You never
for
know.
Valentine's.
Maybe the chocolates part, possibly, but but flowers definitely not that in that area. Yeah, you're right.
What would you do if someone sent you flowers?
I'd still be like, all right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
There you go. All right, everyone. Send Connor Chan some flowers. All right, let's switch gears and see what pets we have for Valentine's Day. This is Lucy. What an adorable photo. That was sent to us by Lori. Next up, we have Toby. Very cute picture. That was sent to us by Shelby. Next, we have Kalia. Look at sleepy little girl. That was sent to us by Ebony. Very cute. This is Chico. Look at that little fluff ball. That was sent to us by Sandra. And then, oh my goodness, Mila. This just made my Valentine's. That was sent to us by Aya. Thank you so much for sending these in. If you have a pet you would like to see here on the show, send us a picture. Please include your pet's name, and if they are selected, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card to the Lloydminster Pet Pad.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
I am joined with two very special guests today, Tyler and Jordy, and you guys were both part of the My Why project here in Lloydminster. And Jordy, thank you so much for coming in today. We're very excited to have you. And we just kind of want to get started. I was lucky enough, I got to watch the video. But for people who haven't seen the video, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your story and why you're here?
Well, I'm an advocate for mental health because I've been struggling with developmental delays and mental health myself.
And so you are a very big advocate. And so my question to you is basically, why do you find it so important to reach out and to talk to people?
Well, it's because, well, if we were to say my son has cancer, people will be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for you. And they'll try to do something to help you out. But if you were to say my son has depression, people might not react the same.
Absolutely.
And so there's a lot of other kids and adults alike that are dealing with a lot of mental health issues. And they're not getting the help they need.
Absolutely. So it's very important to talk and to reach out. And for your journey, you've had a couple of special people in your life. Who are those special people, and why? How have they helped you get to where you are now?
Well, there's Dr. Lindy Scorbante. She's the psychiatrist here in Lloyd. And then there's also Dr. Ross Green, psychologist, teaches at Harvard. And then there's my mom.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever be here in front of on the news if it hadn't been for her and those other two.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we also have a special guest, Tyler, and you two kind of met through this project a little bit. Tyler, do you want to kind of explain how that came to be and why we're here today?
Well, I met Jordy through My Why as well as through the 100 Women Who Care. The first time I actually met him face to face was when I went to present for 100 Women.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to meet him then. So it's been really great to get to know Jordy and to have him such a huge advocate in my corner.
Absolutely. Sure. And Jordy, you're a pretty special kid. And what did you think when you first met him and you heard his story and being able to speak out and reach out at such a young age and be able to kind of be that advocate? What did you think?
Yeah, you know, I before I even went on did a presentation for 100 Women or talked to Jesse or Kristen about My Why, I actually watched Jordy's video, and it was very touching to see such a huge advocate for mental health in our community. It really moved me, and we watched his video as part of the programming at the center, and everybody was quite moved. So it was such an honor to actually get to meet him finally, and such a remarkable young guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now, Jordy, you guys, this friendship kind of has blossomed out of this, and you guys still kind of stay in touch, and you kind of are each other's like almost your mentors together, which is kind of really awesome. Yeah.
True, though.
Yeah. So do you guys like hang out after? Do you guys still see each other? Do you talk on a regular basis?
We've had a lot of interactions at different events, both of us together. You know, it's amazing to have somebody like Jordy, you know, kind of start the journey with this My Why thing, because I mean, the fact that he was able to do that made it a lot easier for me. I was pretty nervous to do the video, and the whole idea was if Jordy could do it, I could do it. So
Absolutely.
he kind of started it off, and we see each other at a number of events. You know, over the past few months, we hosted Jordy and his family at the Santa Claus Parade this year, and had a great night then. And Jordy's even done some fundraising for us. He's an amazing kid.
Very cool. Well, we thank you so much for coming in, Jordy. You have an amazing story. You're a very smart, positive kid, and we love to have you here today. So thank you guys so much for coming in. We appreciate it. Thank you. I am joined once again with Dr. Neki Jamal from Wayside Dental. We always love when you come in. You got always something interesting to say. So today we're talking about something that not necessarily all dental offices offer, which is sedation.
Perfect.
So do you want to kind of talk about the process of that and what you guys use it for, basically?
Oh, absolutely. We offer many different types of sedation. The main type of sedation that people come to see us for from all over kind of northeastern Alberta, Saskatchewan, is IV sedation.
Okay.
Where we can actually give you sedation medication through an IV and make it so you don't remember any of your dental work. We can do all your dental work in one visit. And patients love it, and we love it because we can help so many more people that are so anxious to come see us.
Right, exactly. And with that, it's not necessarily just like wisdom teeth, big surgery.
No.
This is like for anything, correct?
Everything, yeah.
Okay.
We've done everything from 1 or 2 fillings to putting crowns on teeth, to, like you said, wisdom teeth, to even some people that it's time for them later on in life where they need dentures. We take out all the remaining teeth all at once, and patients just love it because then they can just come in, get it all done at once, and
Amazing.
Just done.
Yeah, absolutely. And for someone who maybe is a little hesitant to kind of go under because they haven't done it before, what is kind of the process of it? Is it a big recovery time? Like how do you feel once you like come back from it?
To differentiate it, we're not doing it in a hospital setting.
Right.
So the recovery is a lot easier. And to put everyone's mind at ease, you're still breathing on your own. There's not a machine breathing for you. And we have the ability to wake you up at any time.
Okay.
And so that really allows us to keep a huge margin of safety, and we want to keep patient safety at our utmost importance at all times, but we also want to get all your dental work done, and it's been a godsend for so many people.
Absolutely.
And we're so proud to be able to offer this service in Lloydminster.
For sure, because I would assume lots of people are very uncomfortable with dentists, and then it makes your job easier because then you're not having to worry about someone who's worked up and stressed out about the visit.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And that's, that's the main reason I became a dentist, because there's such a huge negative connotation associated with our profession. And I just try to change one person each day to, make us like us even more and keep everyone smiling.
You want people to be pumped to go to the dentist,
right?
basically.
And it's a fun place, man.
Exactly. Yeah. I also wanted to touch a little bit on some other things that you offer, not just necessarily just coming in for your regular checkup. You kind of mentioned off camera that you have something like a scanner, which is really cool. So do you want to kind of talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. For me, when I was younger, I hated getting molds of my teeth taken, and for a lot of the procedures now, we actually do everything digitally. So we use a computer to scan your teeth, your top teeth and your bottom teeth, and how you bite your teeth together. And we can actually show you what your teeth would look like if we move them around using Invisalign. Or instead of getting the goop in your mouth, if you're getting a crown, we just do everything digitally. It's all sent over the internet to the lab that can make your new tooth. And so we try to keep the experience as easy as possible. And it's actually even a lot more accurate than the goops were. So we're trying to create the best of both worlds.
For sure. And then it's probably more, like you said, more precise and less hassle for both sides. So that's
absolutely,
awesome. And I also just wanted to touch on really quickly Invisalign, because that is becoming more and more of a thing besides the braces. So do you want to kind of just explain that and how that works?
Yeah, Invisalign is an alternative to braces.
Yeah.
It's a lot of adults later on in life when they've had braces as a kid and then they didn't wear their retainers, maybe as a lot of us don't tend to do. And our teeth rotate a little bit. We're able to scan your teeth with this computer, and then we can design your teeth and how we want them to look like. And you actually get clear plastic trays that you change out every 1 to 2 weeks, and that moves your teeth slowly to get them in the optimal position so you can keep smiling again.
There you go. And then you eliminate the braces that everyone hated in junior high. Perfect. That's all the time we have today, but thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you.
I love it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Well, we're back here at Let's Golf. Obviously, you just saw just how much I need to work on my swing. This technology that they have at Let's Golf allows you to see your shot in real time, including your swing path and everything like that. We'll see just how much I have learned here from the technology. I think that's going in the water. Not quite, but that's all good. In the next hour, we'll be talking a little bit more about the technology that they are running here at Let's Golf, and also just some of the specials that they do run here as well. So that'll be coming up. Let's head back into the studio where Michaela and Connor will wrap up the first hour of tonight's show.